Right. Hello and welcome to episode Premodern Super League of the Spy Colony podcast. I'm here with your co-host, the GOAT, co-commentator, and my favorite Michael J. Flores.
I'm also my favorite Michael J. And I'm with the birthday girl, Lanny Huang.
Today we're bringing you action from the Premodern Super League, pod B or C. Can't be sure, honestly. One of the pods. Will correct me in chat. It's going to be featuring two friends of the Spy Colony podcast, Francisco Pawlusz and Rebell San. Super hyped to bring this coverage to you, and shout out to Will Hurst for putting it all together. So let's just jump down into the deck lists. On Francisco. So we've got on Francisco's side, we got his signature blue-eyed Dreadnought deck.
When you say his signature blue-eyed Dreadnought deck, this just looks like the Dave Kaplan special to me.
Yes, indeed. In fact, I think Dave Kaplan studied Fran's signature very closely and just made a few nice flourishes. Notably, the evolution that we all kind of caught on shortly after LobsterCon being two Armageddons in the sideboard. The main deck is mostly stock, the only difference being this flex slot of a null hanging out in the main board. And everything else is just the blue-eyed Dreadnought that we know and love. This deck, some might say, is the best in Premodern. Certainly top three.
I would, for example. So the main board, you say. Interesting omission on the part of Francisco here. I think that Impulse is an acceptable card in Blue-White Dreadnought if you're going to play with Brain Freeze, and I think that because Rich Shea told me that. So if Fran chose not to play Brain Freeze this time, and instead he's got the Armageddon sideboard instead.
Well, Fran still believes in using Impulse to find Armageddon.
Not fix his deck?
No, he wants to use the Impulse to find Armageddon. He's conveyed that personally, that Impulse helps hold together the sort of Armageddon or Brain Freeze strategy. So I think Fran's sticking to his guns. Of course, deck submission was, probably a few weeks ago. So this was before the dawn of Fran's new favorite deck, Red-Green Oath Pawlusz. So we're sticking it back to Blue-White Pawlusz, Dreadnought Pawlusz, Fran's signature. And I think this is a good deck when the goal is to go 2-1 to get out of the pods and into a single elimination playoff. I would not be surprised if Fran doesn't catch a match win here. Surely he will catch one in the coming matches. This deck is just super reliable and good at putting up.
How could playing the best deck not put you in the best spot for getting a 2-1.
That's what I'm saying.
This is the best deck. I mean, Fran's like, I think Red-Green Oath Pawlusz it's not the best. Come on, man. Has anyone ever read the card Phyrexian Dreadnought?
Well, it's great. Okay, we're finally jumping out to Rebell's deck. This is, I don't know what you want to call it, black-red.
Premodern Girl Dinner.
Yeah.
That's what apparently it's called.
Oh, yeah, Premodern. There we go.
So Rebell calls this scam. Rebell is just into casting Dark Ritual. Her feeling is that Dark Ritual is scam. She has an affinity for scam from Modern. She took that into Premodern. She told me she liked scam, and I made her the David Daniel Insidious Dreams deck. She went on to win that meetup, I believe, with the David Daniel Insidious Dreams deck. Then she played in $1,000 tournament at Bearded Dragon and didn't have all the cards for it, and instead just had Black Knight, and I guess fell in love with Black Knight because this is just a Black Knight special. Rebell with a Premodern Girl Dinner is just representing for all the basic swamps out there.
Yeah, I mean, this has got to be the worst color combination in Premodern right now, so I'm really excited to see what Rebell does with it. Notably, Black Knight is, BB for a 2/2 protection from white first strike. It brawls with every goblin, except for Goblin Goon, of course. It can't be plowshared, so it brawls with Mr. Picula as well. Notably includes also the Flametome Kavu and the Blazing Spectre. Some value 4-drops getting in there. This is also Spectre Tribal going on. We have a Singleton Blood Moon in the main. We have 4 Terminates as our resistance to Phyrexian Dreadnought, as well as 4 Duress, which certainly can't hurt. And of course, a light burn package of 3 Incinerates, 4 Bolts, just in case you need to serve it to the face. Maybe shaky mana base with 6 Swamps attempting to support 4 Tainted Peak. We'll have to see how that goes. Or I guess it's 10 Swamps, 10 virtual Swamps.
Yeah, 4 Bloodstained Mires here. I think that if you'd never seen this kind of Rebel special, Black Knight special, Premodern Girl Dinner, whatever you want to call it, it'd be easier to just like dismiss this matchup because Fran's got the best deck in Premodern on his side. But this deck is actually lined up pretty well to beat Dreadnought, right? Like, Terminate is a great answer to 12-12, especially if it's, set up by a Duress. And one of the notable vulnerabilities of 12-12 is just like Ritual Hypno.
Yeah. All right. We are going to get started here with the action. So I believe this is not open deck list, so Fran should not know what Rebel's playing and vice versa. But Fran has Portent and a fetch land in his opening hand, so that's basically Demonic Tutor, and we're on our way to turn 2 combo with Daze Backup, which is going to be pretty good against just turn 1 Hippie. So turn 1 Hippie, unfortunately, showing its weakness in that it is much worse than turn 2 12-12 Trample.
Rebel, please cast both Dark Rituals.
I mean, if I'm Fran, I'm just not even.
No,
I'm not even
fudge.
dazing this. I'm not even dazing this. I'm just sending the Dreadnought, right?
Absolutely have to daze this. Fran doesn't know that Rebel doesn't have a second land. I mean, Terminate's gonna smoke the Dreadnought.
No, the Vision Charm. The Vision Charm here puts Dreadnought in double coverage. So Fran would have a Vision Charm to back up, followed by it's got to be the Arena here. Followed by a counterspell on the upkeep. So Fran would just have it all. But of course, taking the slow line, there's no shame in that. There is always the potential for Hypnotic Spectre to get the exact right card every single time.
So what do you think Fran thinks Rebel is on? I mean, he's just jamming here.
Well, Rebel hasn't shown
probably on Dead Guy Ale.
Yeah,
probably,
Rebel hasn't
right?
shown any black cards, or sorry, any non-black cards. So Fran could be thinking that this is like some pit rack build, some black mid-range deck. This Duress is certainly going to at least make victory possible for a Rebel, but
no. Vision Charm is bad times for Rebel, obviously, here.
Yeah, but it would allow Rebel to at least string together the Terminates. Of course, yeah, so this is actually a great spot because Rebel hasn't shown any red mana, this Meddling Mage can't name anything. But unfortunately, since Rebel took the Vision Charm, which would have at least time walked the Dreadnought on cast, this counterspell is just going to end the game, even if Rebel tops the red source. Yeah, and Fran is not going to go for the Soul Read, which I agree with. And I would just scoop them up here. Yeah, nice. Okay, Rebel refusing to show her second color of mana and her.
That is some good gamesmanship there.
Yeah, I think that's a super heads up play. I think she looks a lot more mid range control to Fran with just kind of the Ritual Hippie situation. But like, yeah, I think Fran's thinking Dead Guy L, and he's thinking I need to Plowshare some Angels and I need to get in, the derpy mid range deck. So this is
siding out Meddling Mage. Yeah, siding in Last Breath. Francisco needs to cut 3 more cards.
Last Breath has no targets in Rebel's deck.
Beautiful.
This is awesome.
That's not true. It has lots of targets. Hippie, Blazing Spectre.
Last Breath targets a creature with is it Power Toolers and it's converted? Oh yeah, it's Power Tool. I forgot. Right. People always get hung up on that because they think it's converted mana cost. I fell trap to that too. My bad.
All right, so Francisco.
Trying to turn more control, and I think Rebel is actually
the hilarious thing
is
here. Like all of his good cards are not in his deck currently.
Yeah.
So Red Blast, Power Blast coming in, Overload's got to be coming in. Do you think Rebel knows to take out Flame Tongue Cavu? It's just an inefficient answer. Engineered Plague for why? I would honestly rather have Anarchy.
Well, Rebel clearly does know about Flame Tongue Cabu, but maybe
The Engineered Plague is not a good one in this matchup, in my opinion.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that.
Winter Orb is also horrendous bad.
Yeah, I think Rebel just is missing a little bit of the history that the blue-white deck used to be the deck that was running the Winter Orb. And I also just don't think it should be. I also just don't think it should be in the sideboard of the deck that contains Mistress Factory. But
I think that as soon as these Engineered Plagues come out, then the deck is going to be correctly tuned. Oh no, Flame Tongue Cavu, not good. Let's get.
We're already into game 2, first turn, and this ritual hippie's actually trading with. It's 2 for 3 the foil. That's the best ritual hippie that's ever been cast in Premodern. Fran needs the island. This is so good for Rebel.
Tainted Peak, Black Knight. Let's go.
Oh my god, this game's over. And then we've got double blue blast. Red blast covered for.
I mean, no, it's not over. If Fran just draws a land,
it's over. It's literally it's just
okay.
Over.
Now it's pretty bad.
I knew Fran was missing the land because that's just justice for running out the turn 1. He's just
like,
I'll bottom the plowshares. Doesn't do anything here.
Duress, rock and roll duress.
Oh, I wanna take this.
You take the Vision Charm.
I know
right?
you take the Vision Charm, but I want to take the Counterspell to force out the Dreadnought.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be the slowest 9 turns of Francisco Pavlicek's life.
Oh my god, the ritual hippie getting him.
I blast the bejesus out of this.
Shuffle, draw.
I would have blasted the Portent.
I think, because Fran has to assemble like everything good here. I don't mind avoiding Tempo Blast just because I like having the blast. Oh, well, now it's
Rebel Son can't lose. Never didn't have it.
ESPN checkmark right there. You know, Mike, you and I have many a time talked about how the optimal strategy is, like, what do we want? I'm taking basic island here, honestly. I'm just going to hit the land drop and hopefully draw into
this game is
enough
so
mana
over.
to gush and stuff. What did we say was like the threshold? We just need 6 blasts and then we'll just never lose to Dreadnought with our red deck. I mean, it's certainly showing
Black
it off
Knight,
here.
oh my god. Swords to Plowshares. Oh, so beautiful. So beautiful. Oh, Fran, I love Fran. He's a really good friend of mine. But you just gotta love the underdog.
No, Fran's enjoying this too. Fran's also just looking at his hand and like just thinking, like looking at Rebel with 5 cards in hand and just be like, what is happening right now? All right, Mistress Factory is going to speed this game up considerably, which is nice.
So this is going to put Francisco to 9. Incinerate's going to put him to 6. I don't think I even send the Factory next turn.
Why? You don't need to cast anything that doesn't cost R. I mean, I guess it turns on the days.
Don't do it. There's no point. It doesn't change the break point.
Yeah. Get him. Pyroblasts to spare. Imagine what Fran's thinking right now, that Rebel is forcing through an Incinerate instead of holding up Pyroblast for Dreadnought. He's just like, okay, I guess that's pretty good.
Yeah, but so the Factory doesn't change the breakpoint, so there's just no point in cast. Just attack.
Yeah, just attack, hold up Double Blast with enough mana to pay for days, and then go for lethal.
Yeah, and then just attack with both next turn.
Yeah. I think Rebel might even just attack down twice or send out this Hypnotic Spectre, which is actually one of the only ways for Rebel to conceivably be in at least a tight spot. She currently doesn't have enough red mana to cast all 3 cards in her hand.
So if she blasts here, she's going to get dazed.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is not good. But
Fran is so far behind.
Yeah,
none of that matters.
Yeah, none of it matters. I mean, at least it was correct to take the days off the take the days off of the impulse, and we're going to see a game 3. So Fran's like,
Francisco is going to change his sideboarding strategy.
Like
Disenchant out, Hydroblast in, Blue Blast in.
This Flash of Insight. He wants to rando pitch the Flash of Insight to
foil
to a hippie hit. That's why it's still going to be in the deck.
So my first match I ever played on the Pro Tour, I sided in Guerrilla Tactics in the like Necropotence mirror, and my opponent had first turn Hypno, and I could have just Guerrilla Tactics it, but I let them hit me. So I was like, wouldn't it be cool if I discarded this Guerrilla Tactics to kill the Hypno? So basically, I took a 2-point hit that I didn't have to take, and I didn't discard that card.
Yeah, of course.
That's about how I feel about Fran's play.
There you go.
What do we got, Rebel Son?
Yeah, unfortunately, Rebel. So Fran doesn't have a great opening hand, but Rebel.
No clock.
Still hoping that Flametongue Kavu is going to catch any targets, which of course it can never do. That Fran has Meddling Mage out of his sideboard. So Rebel has to contemplate if a Mistress Factory Duress opening is enough, and she decides not.
Well, why? Oh my God! Why would you ship that hand? Oh my God!
And we're going down to 5.
You young people ship so many hands. Like that first hand would have won the game, by the way.
The ritual hand?
Yeah.
I agreed that the ritual hand was playable at best. But this Tainted Peak actually making things a little awkward for Rebel needing to produce as much red mana as possible. So she's priced into fetching a swamp to turn on the Tainted Peak, and then she won't have blasts up a bunch.
Well, it's not 100% true. If Fran has the turn 2 combo, she's definitely going to go for a blast.
Well, right? Instead she's playing around Stifle here. But yeah, she actually has to choose mountain or swamp.
Yeah, I think Stifle's obviously horrible for her in this spot.
But yeah, I like
0% chance I would have mulliganed that. Oh, see?
Yep.
There you go, Lanny.
Well,
Rebel knows where her bread is buttered.
Well, it just means that this Tainted Peak is going to wait to be relevant, and there's going to be huge red mana bottleneck. But Rebel keeps on ripping red sources, so it's not the worst place to be. But again, it's going to be really hard to present a threat into Fran's double Swords of Plowshare situation. And Rebel is going to have to exercise some patience here, because if she ever taps out, the punish is going to come down with Fran's combo rolled up in hand. Fran's going to go ahead and get some Flash of Insight cantrip value. And yeah, he's going to be happy to play a slow game. The threat of Armageddon is also going to loom large over this game as well, if Rebel takes too much time getting set up.
Oh, there you go.
See some patience. Counterspell, blast, counterspell. What do you think? I've got 3 blasts in hand. I'll probably blast the counterspell. But also it leaves you with no blasts because that Tainted Peak still doesn't tap for red.
You still got to blast the counterspell here.
Yeah, Rebel, this Tainted Peak is just killing me.
Then you take the Stiffy.
That gives Fran a window. Of course,
he has to rip.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know. He didn't see the overload last game, but he's still worried about terminate. All right, we can impulse for it, but yeah,
impulse for the combo.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that Fran's exercising patience here, and unfortunately that FTK is just bad news. Bad news. Blank draw. Very unfortunate. This gush is great news for Fran. And yeah, once again, this red deck really needs a 2/2. Oh, and we're already cashing in our flash. Yeah, I guess if he has the mana up and it's a flash for 4, it's not the worst.
I think Rebel's patience is really going to pay off.
Well,
Fran's got
unless Fran draws
triple cover spell here.
Unless Fran draws Armageddon. Yeah, no blast in response. Fran bricks and has to go to cleanup.
What are you discarding here? Swords?
I discard the days. I normally discard days in this spot. I think the swords just means, like, in this position where Fran is only worried about Rebel putting pressure on him, like, the Swords of Plowshares just elongates the amount of time.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, and Fran is going to wait to float 2 blue into this. And yeah, this Tainted Peak is very sad right now.
I just think Rebel shouldn't have mulliganed the first hand. Right? Like, I'm 90% sure I would have won the game with that first hand. But the game's not over, right? So Fran has triple coverage here, right?
Yeah, Fran has plenty of coverage, and he can just go again. So I like tapping planes for Fran might start with the Gush, but I just like tapping.
No, he's going to start by floating UU. That's cover. That's just the coverage mana on his counterspell, right?
And we're going to see if Rebel is going to take a chance to bite on this. Yeah, and I don't like this Gush, this blast here, because it's just allowing, like, Fran's at hand size, so this Gush was potentially going to cycle cards, but now the Gush instead gets to trade. By spending no mana, the Gush got to trade with the blast, which is pretty valuable.
I think that's just like a little bit of a format non-knowledge. Like, Rebel's obviously going to get punished here.
Yeah. But the top deck can be nothing, because Fran will have Counterspell up. So the top deck can be Overload, but Terminate is not in the range, which is super unfortunate. And yeah, unfortunately, it's Overload or nothing from this spot. And it is now nothing.
Officially nothing.
Fran, of course, worried about some sort of deep play here, but I think.
Really? Would you do that here?
Yeah, because if Rebel had the removal, then you know for sure that she would have used it on the attack step to save 12 life. And there you have it. A little bit of an awkward Tainted Peak situation on the side of Rebel. She came prepared for the matchup, but you know, those little margins matter, and that concludes the match.
I mean, Rebel had bad draws in 2 of the 3 games, right? That first game was a keep a first turn ritual Hypno with only a single land. I think if Rebel had been on the play, she probably would have won game 1 with the 1 land mana.
No, she needed to have a red source to find coverage for the Dreadnought, because she would still need to hit a combo piece after game 1.
Yeah, that stuff happens all the time, man.
Yeah, Hypnotic Sector notably just Thoughtseize as your opponent every single time.
He's just like, that guy is just like ruins people's lives. So enough that they play Hypnotic Spectre and Dark Ritual in their decks.
Well, fair enough. Yeah, so there you have it. Thanks everybody for watching, and yeah, we'll see you next time.
Love Mike.
Love Spy Colony.